Start streaming. Woo woo! I think that's good. Everything looks good there. And yep, everything looks good. I guess we'll just do this. It's Tuesday. Whoop whoop. Marantz is going. Whoop. Whoop. Okay. It's Tuesday, August 15th, 2017. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we're talking about Namco Museum on the Nintendo Switch. Oh, there's already people watching.
The sad people are here.
Hooray, my favorite guys.
Whoever you are, you need new guys to be your favorite guys.
I don't know, we're okay guys. There are worse guys that could be watching. I'm not saying we're the best, but there are worse guys.
But I'm saying your favorite guy isn't who's like an awesome.
Neil Cicerega.
That's an okay guy.
I think he might be my favorite guy.
Better than us, for sure, at least.
All right, I guess I'll just do an opening bit about the beach because I got nothing.
Opening bits.
Yeah, unless you got an opening bit.
Nope.
Okay. Whoop. Oh, there we go. That's better volume on that. Anyway. Woo! Up. Okay, I'd messed with the volume for a streaming thing I was doing the other day. But that had nothing to do with the stream here. It just had to do with the Marantz. All right. This past weekend, we spent probably our last summer beach day because PAX is coming real soon.
And it's also cold and rainy.
Yeah, it's like there was basically, we had this window of one day where we could go to the beach in a while just because weekends have been busy, and it's actually been not the best beach weather.
We stayed on that beach as long as we possibly could. We got back to that ferry as it was pulling in.
Yup. You guys because we rolled up ahead to throw away all our stuff in the dumpster. And you
I would
guys
have made
rolled
it
in.
sooner, but someone was slow.
Yeah, but that happens.
We could have left earlier.
Yeah, we could have, but we were on the beach. If no one wanted to leave the beach,
We could have waited for the next ferry too.
Yeah,
But the problem is we were already
we packed up.
We were already unbeached.
Yeah, if you're gonna stay for the second ferry, because that's 2 more hours, you've got to commit to staying at the beach that 2 extra hours.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
there's no point.
Plus, I needed to get home.
Yeah, because I got stuff to do for PAX.
I still haven't even done laundry.
I did a
It's
big
so
laundry
bad.
yesterday because the
I
one
managed
thing
to clean my kitchen and living room, but the bedroom is a problem.
I can do laundry pretty well while I play Civ 6, and so my first news: Civ 6. If you weren't paying attention, got a big update.
Oh, some people are playing that game still.
Yeah, so I played it again, and it's hard. So I didn't fully read the release notes because I didn't realize there was a patch. I just started playing Civ 6 kind of out of nowhere because the Civ 5 games that I'm playing with the patrons are going pretty well. The Civ 5 game I'm playing with our friends is not going well. You are all monsters.
Yeah, get them.
The entire world is ganged up on me.
All right, listen to Scott, finally.
It
Jesus
is literally
Christ.
all of the world
Jesus.
versus tiny, peaceful, enlightened Portugal
Evil-
who just wants...
Evil Rim going down.
Portugal-
If only the real world would unite against evil the same way that great world of civilization has united against evil.
I just want to point out, Portugal
Rimjigal.
never at once violated a treaty. In good faith, did not invade Germany on warlike.
Victory-seeking,
I attacked.
power-hungry Rimjigal.
I attacked the true danger, the menace on the western horizon, the menace of Ethiopia and Lisa.
Good job, people. Now, nobody turn your back on the rest of the united world, right? You need to remain united until the threat of Rimjigal has been 100% completely annihilated, just like the threat of Scotchigal was annihilated at the beginning of
Rimjigal
the
is your
game.
only hope. Grasp my mummified heart and understand the true danger. If you don't unite with me now in my great ordeal to destroy Ethiopia, y'all are fucked.
You can get Ethiopia after Rim is dead.
Nope. If you wait too long, it's a lost cause because Ethiopia is equal, if not actually, if Ethiopia fully uses her continent, Ethiopia is undefeatable.
You know what? That's fine because Rim doesn't win. As long as Rim doesn't win, it's okay.
I just want to point out that you got rolled by the AI and Lisa right away.
I don't know how to play Civ. There's too much stuff in Civ. They got to simplify and abstract that.
But it's
shit.
easy to forget how long ago. because I uploaded the first video of like turn 100 when James was still in the game in England, how thoroughly I rolled him. And I would just point out, as much as you might say I'm evil, no one could blame me for invading England. You would have done it. Anyone would have done it.
I don't invade. I just build stuff.
Scott, if your neighbor had 3 nice cities, 1 composite archer, and the Great Library, and nothing else, not even walls, what would you do?
I just like happily, peacefully building my shit.
Why not just have
I wish
bunch
there
of
was a
extra cities?
no-war version of Civ where everyone just could only build settlers and workers and buildings, and you couldn't build any military units. That would be the best game.
That's just playing SimCity next to other people.
I know.
But, so I started playing Civ 6, just like for a few hours.
I am not a warlike person. I am not evil like Rimchigo.
I'm not evil. I'm simply appropriately bellicose to the time and circumstance of my civilization's
or is
waxing.
Is it Porchurim?
I think Rimchigo is better. But I started playing Civ 6, and it just felt better. Like all I could think to myself was, wow, I remember being pretty harsh on this UX and UI, but it's actually feeling pretty good. Maybe I was... No, they actually changed it, and I just didn't notice. This patch that came out recently actually made a lot of subtle changes that combined just make the game feel so much better. The notifications are way more apt, so you don't miss stuff. The game just feels like really chill.
Right, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like the game just tells you.
It's like I want to play it, but the problem is I want to play all the games, and I only have time for so many games, and then I got time for other stuff I want to do that's not games, and then it's like, how can I invest in a game that takes like half a day to play?
Yep, but it was so fun. Like I got into that Civ zone.
It is so fun, but it's like
the Civ zone.
There are also other things that are so fun. How do I choose?
If I didn't have a job, I'd probably play Civ a lot more.
Yeah, if I didn't have a job, I could do all the things I want to do, and the job takes 40
In fact,
hours.
I'd probably get a
the majority of my waking hours every week are spent at job. So doing this one stupid thing.
I just want to sit
when I could be doing many great things.
I want to sit on a beach with a surface book, just playing Civ, and every now and then saving my game and going swimming. But yeah, so you can read the change notes, but they made a ton of changes, and most of them are actually really minor balance changes to individual civs, and they added new civs, like aqueducts are 30% cheaper, and sewers are 50% cheaper, districts as a whole are 10% cheaper. Like, they just made the game...
Cheaper is good because you can do more stuff. It's more fun.
Well, because it always felt like it took too long to build districts.
It takes too long to build everything.
But they calmed that down
It's like
a
military
lot.
units would take like a couple turns, and I didn't like building military. I like building buildings, and they take for fucking ever.
They also fixed a lot of stuff with the AI, so if you're going to win the game, even if the AI is, like, by its rules, super friendly, because you've been super friendly to it, it'll get increasingly aggressive if you're actually on track to win, which is probably good. I feel like our human eye friends in that Civ game should not have done this. And again, F you guys, you're all evil, and I hope you burn in hell once Ethiopia destroys you after you invade me, but I digress.
That's fine, as long as Rim doesn't win.
But, like, the combat preview just, like, works way better, so, like, you know what's going to happen. The Civlopedia, like, shows more info. If you have a unit that you gave a long set of orders to, like 10 turns of moving, if you hover over it, it'll show you what it's going to do. All these little things added up to where the game is just way more pleasant to play.
Well, these are all things that, are a symptom of games, getting released before they're super, super, super polished.
Yeah, in the old days, these were the things that you do in, like, the last 6 months of development.
Other people are releasing their games and calling it early access, and some people aren't. But when Civ 6 was released, it was basically, what was the difference? Because they didn't call it early access, it counts as released. It's like, it's just names for the same thing.
Yep.
Whatever.
But yeah, so if you...
The labels mean nothing.
If you haven't played Civ 6 in a while, right about now is a good time to just poke at it, because you might find it a lot more pleasant.
Or wait a little bit longer, and maybe it'll be even cheaper. A nice bundle, include everything.
I just buy Civ games when they come out. I can't.
I bought every Civ when it came out since Civ 3.
Yeah, I pirated Civ 2 because back then I didn't really understand
Civ
the
2.
difference.
Civ 2 I bought, but I didn't get it as soon as it was released. It was like I went to CompUSA.
A friend of my parents, like this other dad, literally just like gave us a CD that had Civ on it, and he was just like, "Hey, install this on your computer. It's pretty good."
Had the real CD with the real book and everything.
Yeah, I never had the book. I just learned, like XCOM. I just learned the game from trial and error. I never saw an instruction book.
I saw the only time I saw the XCOM instruction book was the PDF on Steam.
Oh, yeah. I never saw it as a kid, and I never heard the sounds.
Yeah, pro tip, if you got games on Steam, they do have instruction manuals. They're on Steam. You go to the Steam page, and on the right side, there's all these links that have tons of info, including like soundtracks, PDFs, et cetera, and it's somewhat not super obvious, but they're all there. You should check them out, especially for old games.
In related news, there are Civilization board games off and on, but there is there's
a lot of games that are like they're effectively Civ the board game, like Through the Ages.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of games that are actually branded Civilization. There's a few of those.
Full disclosure, I have never liked any of these games. I've never enjoyed them.
I like Through the Ages, but no one.
I'm going to use the word that Luke Crane, I think it might be one of his most hated words on earth, but they're too fiddly. They don't.
But actual Civ isn't too fiddly, even though it's way more fiddly.
Actual Civ is way more fiddly, but most of the fiddling is semi-automated or fully automated by the game. I'm not moving.
You still have to think about it.
Yeah.
In this, you have to think about a lot less because this,
Yeah, but I don't want to play a card that says, and I quote, move each of your caravans up to 4 spaces. They can move into spaces matching this slot's terrain or lower. Your caravans can move into barbarian spaces. If you move a caravan in a barbarian space, defeat that barbarian without gaining a trade token.
Right, so this...
I do not want to parse all that text.
That's because this particular Civilization game is published by Fantasy Flight, and this is the kind of crapo game they make. You could tell it's a Fantasy Flight.
It's literally pictures of art from the game rendered onto cards.
You can tell it's a Fantasy Flight game right away.
You see this on a table, and you're like, that's Fantasy Flight.
Yep.
Or someone's ripping off Fantasy Flight's aesthetic.
No, they're publishing it, so you can skip this one probably.
Look at all these pieces.
This has to prove it's good before.
This game, my prediction is, the game has a lot of complexity that does not translate into a lot of strategic thinking.
Nope.
And there will be numerous rules parsing issues.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It appears to be multiplayer, like 4 civs. I just can't. If you want to play a game...
Play Eclipse.
No. If you want to play a game that gives the feels of Civ, play Tempest. Tempest,
actually abstracts. Yeah, it's even more abstract than Eclipse.
Yeah, you can every turn. What do you want to do? Walk around, sit and think, make some babies, fight with somebody, build a city. Like that's your options.
I'll make babies every turn.
Make babies every turn is not the worst strategy sometimes.
That's my real life strategy.
Oh yeah, people are even talking about how this is basically a port of Civ 6. And not feeling this at all the more I look at it.
Why, just because people get in this trap where because something has an intellectual property license that is associated with some sort of goodness.
Well,
that like they suddenly now you're paying attention with if that board game didn't have a Civ license, it wouldn't even be on your radar. You wouldn't know it existed. You'd never talk about it. That just because it has this license and intellectual property trademark on it, suddenly it becomes news on GeekNights, right? You have to escape this idea, right? Stop paying attention to things just because there's some license attached to it.
Well, I mean, remember the Adventure Time games?
It's like some crapo dice game, and then they put a picture of Luke Skywalker on it, and suddenly, whoa! Everybody
remember those
go.
Adventure Time games because on the DS?
Yep, that's a perfect example.
Those games were garbage,
worthless.
And the more I think about them, like they're bad. They're worse than some of the games in the Namco Museum we're about to talk about. Like they're the worst. And even worse, those games.
It's like a platformer someone made in a weekend. As
like the first level of those games seems like, okay, this could become a decent game if I keep playing it, and then everything after the first level is just increasingly garbage. So yeah, I would skip this game unless the reviews are somehow really good from people like us. If we come back and say this game is good, I guarantee it's good.
It's got a lot to prove.
Yeah, if we don't come back and if we never talk about this game again, never buy this game. So, how about that DotA bot?
Yeah, so the DotA International, 7? I think it was the 7th one? I
don't even know.
Team Liquid won, which I guess, yay, they're cool, whatever.
I hear their name enough to where I recognize them?
Yeah. There's a guy who's on Team Liquid I watch play Hearthstone all the time, this Finnish dude, and the thing is he doesn't seem to compete in esports very much, but he has like a Team Liquid chair, and he's on the team, and he sells, he makes money and whatnot, but He doesn't do any esports. So I'm like, how does that work? Imagine if I was on like the New York Rangers, but I didn't play hockey. I just sat around at home and made hockey streams all day. But I wasn't actually in the NHL or any league, not even the minor league. Somehow I'm like, I got a jersey. People buy it. It's so weird, right? I don't know how that works. But anyway, one of the things that they do, they don't just have the tournament there. They have other events there. And one of the things they had was they had this AI bot set up. And the bot was very limited, right? It played only one hero, and all it did was solo mid. And they were like, if you can beat this bot, then you can, you get a prize or whatever. And there were some pro players who basically got destroyed by this bot because they played it at its own game. They went into the middle and they did the things that it had been trained to defeat, which is go to the middle and fight. But people quickly figured out after a little bit of practice, like, oh, this bot is really honed in on doing this one thing. It can't really do anything else. If you do this, you'll confuse the hell out of it. And then you can sort of just win and get the prize. So everyone collected the prize on it.
But now before anyone says, the MOBAs are so complicated, this is why bots will never be good at it, I want to remind you that it wasn't that long ago when there was that AI that could beat people at poker, but it could only beat people at like 2-player limit poker. And people were like, Texas Hold'em no limit is so different. And then the bots were like, no, fuck you. Humans will never be good at poker again, ever. Like that happened so quick. Same thing's going to happen here because the problem with MOBAs is that bots are almost like...
Wait, isn't there still online poker for real money? Isn't that still a thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure AIs are just going to ruin that space real quick.
But why shouldn't I just do that right as soon as I get home, get the best poker AI and just hook it up to the online poker?
I don't know all the
details. Put like $100 in there and then come home to like $1 million?
I don't know all the details, but it's this team at CMU is the article I remember.
Why are they using their code to make free money with online poker?
I assume they are, because otherwise why would you make a poker AI?
Give to Scott.
Give to Radiskull.
Give to Scott. I can run it on a computer too. Why don't I deserve free money?
Tell you what, guys, I'll pay for the Amazon server to run it.
I'll pay for whatever. I'll give the initial bidding money and the run the server. I'll just take my portion of the free money afterwards.
Thing is, if I were them, I'd run the bot for a while, and then I would sell the bot to everybody at the same time.
Yeah, but and everyone's running the bot?
Yeah.
And then what? They should run the bot against itself and see how it does.
I guess theoretically, if in a game,
it would just come down to luck of which one has the best cards.
In a game that had perfect AI that was optimal and perfect, and let's skip all the like game theory ramifications of that and the impossibilities of deterministic world. Yeah, it would just be random at that point.
Then I could just put my money in a slot machine.
Yeah, slot machine.
What if we made a slot machine that paid out fairly?
What do you mean fairly?
Well, because like a slot machine is programmed in such a way to pay out such that no matter how much, even if you get lucky, you're not going to make more money than you put in over time.
No.
We can make a slot machine that pays out even money over time instead of always house winning over time.
Why would I ever have that slot machine?
It'll be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could have one in my house. But I'd probably just rig it because... But yeah, so with MOBAs... The skill that is primarily being tested in MOBAs is not the overall strategy of what your team's going to do.
There's a lot of different skills involved.
Yeah, but
it's a multidisciplinary game.
Well, as we saw, this bot is really good at the close-in tactics, so have a widely different strategy and it just flails, doesn't know what to do.
It hasn't been trained yet, though. Eventually, it'll be trained to do everything.
Yeah, but more importantly...
I don't think it knows how to buy items at the item shop. I don't think it knows how to, change lanes.
The parts of MOBAs that are the hardest for humans to deal with are the things that bots can do trivially.
Well, that's the things
Perfect last hitting no matter what. Frame perfect input on any attack. If you're going to gank and you use a power and you get frame perfect, the last pixel of your range gets someone, that's the shit that humans mostly only do by luck or extreme skill that bots can do trivially.
And the bot will do it every single shot.
Yeah.
Every time, nonstop, right?
And
it's
so
not like a speed run where it's like, oh, here comes a frame perfect part. It's like, no, every single frame is frame perfect the whole game.
Also, a set of bots.
The game is 40 minutes long, 60 FPS. What's 60 times 40? 24,000? I think,
Frame
right?
perfect inputs.
2400. Every single one of those frames will be frame perfect.
Now you might say, but there's the skill of humans communicating with each other on a team to coordinate. The bots can communicate faster than humans can communicate.
If they're allowed to communicate.
Well, humans can talk to each other.
Sure.
Let the bots talk over a microphone.
And
they'll come up with a language.
If the bots don't communicate with each other through a communication channel, they'll be able to communicate to each other with their movements in the game.
Yep. So, it'll be real interesting to see when we get to the point.
Like, why did that bot buy that item, sell that item, and then buy a different item? Oh, it was signaling to the other bot.
Yeah. I wonder what'll happen to MOBAs as a sport if there are perfect AIs that are better than all humans no matter what. Because you can say those bot AIs don't exist in the real tournament space. We're only watching the humans compete. But I feel like the bot competitions would be more interesting to watch.
Yeah, I want to see race car races where there's no drivers. It's just who can make the best car AI.
And also, there's precedence in chess.
It's a battle of engineering only and not athleticism.
We know a possible endgame because chess is facing this problem right now, right? So you can't just have AIs in the chess tournaments because humans cannot beat AIs. It's over, right? In chess. So what happened now is that it's humans only in the tournaments. That's fine. The humans study what the bots are doing because that is the height of chess.
Yes, it's easy to study what a bot does in a fucking turn-based game. You can't study what a bot does in a real-time game. I mean, you can study some of its broader strategies, like, oh, see how it does this? But you can't be frame perfect for 24,000
But the end result
frames.
of this is that chess matches are increasingly ending in draws because the attractors in chess are more often draws than defeats. So it's easier to draw a game out forever rather than win. Like, you can't win because against an AI because they'll always beat you. You might be able to force a draw. So against a human, you're almost better off always going for the draw unless the other person fucks up. And the meta of chess is getting real fucked up by this.
Also, before someone gets bad at my math, a 40-minute game that is 60 FPS would be 144,000 frames.
All right.
So there you go.
144,000 frame perfect inputs.
Yep.
Beat that. Beat that soloing mid. So, in some other news, we've talked about this off and on. Nidhogg was not the best
Why
game.
are we even talking about this?
Well, because now it's out.
It's because Rim's obsessed with it.
Well, because now it's out. I really like the original Nidhogg for a lot of reasons. Nidhogg 2 is actually out now, and I thought to myself, I should buy it just to play it so I can
when we first saw screenshots of the game, it was hideous and ugly. When we saw it in action, it was nothing like Nidhogg 1, and it was even more hideous and more ugly.
Yep.
Every indicator is that, yes, it's hideous and ugly, but also nothing like Nidhogg 1 and a bad game and not a good game. And
But at the same time,
the only way it seems to have improved over Nidhogg 1 is the netcode is better.
So at the same time,
Rim still wants to buy it.
Remember?
What more do you need to know?
So remember?
There's good games you could be buying.
So remember Mario Kart or like Mario Tennis when it came out on the DS or the 3DS or whatever? No one reviewed the parts of the game that I cared about. Like, no, I read a bunch of reviews of Mario Tennis, and to this day, I think we're literally the only people who pointed out that the last incarnation of Mario Tennis was a fundamentally different game. Like, core mechanics were changed that made it not, like, timing didn't matter at all. Like, there's all these things that changed that no one who reviewed it talked about, and I have not found anyone who reviewed Nidhogg.
You don't need to talk about the details of a game when all you need to tell people is, don't buy this, don't play it. The details of a game are only worth talking about if the game is worth playing and worth thinking about.
So I have not yet read a review that mechanically talked about the impact of the changes to the game on whether or not it's good. Like, no one has reviewed it.
They're not significant or important in a game that you shouldn't buy or
play. Why not? What's bad about Nidhogg 2?
Okay, so first of all...
Other than the fact that it's ugly as shit.
Right, so Nidhogg 1 was all about, like, you know, all you have is a sword, right? And you can throw it, and you can, up, down, stabby, right? It was all this sort of, like, clever movements and such, right? Like, the core of what a fighting game is. Yeah. Whereas Nidhogg 2 is all these different weapons, and it's sort of like a smashy game, and it's not subtle and elegant in the way Nidhogg 1
But why?
was.
What exactly about the mechanics? I
haven't played it, and I'm not going to play it to find out, because it's not worth it.
But that's the thing. No one who reviews these kinds of games talks about that stuff in detail.
Because they're smart enough to not spend their time when they're playing a shitty game. They don't think about it that hard. It's not worth investing the short time in your life into something bad to figure out it's...
But it might be good, and my point is...
No, it's not. I guarantee it's not.
I mean, it might not be. The problem is...
It's definitely not.
Literally, no one who's reviewed this game has talked about it in that detail.
Good.
But it might be, you don't know. You're just sort of assuming a lot of things. I think you're primarily prejudiced against it.
Do you want to bet on it?
I think you're primarily prejudiced against this game because I hate the art and I hate the animation.
If Nidhogg 2 is a good game, right, then I will pay for it. But if you pay, all right, so you buy Nidhogg 2.
I'll buy it with the Patreon money for one. I'm not buying it with my money.
Is that how it's gonna be? Look at what Rim's wasting your money on fucking Nidhogg 2. He won't let me waste it on like a trip to some tropical island. If you buy Nidhogg 2, which you shouldn't do, and it's actually good, I will then pay for it so it doesn't cost you anything. But if you buy Nidhogg 2 and it sucks as I said it sucks,
yep,
you then also give me the price of Nidhogg 2 in money. And you also, so basically you have to pay double what it costs.
The thing is,
once to me and one to the creators of Nidhogg 2.
I do worry that it sucks, but I have no mechanical verification of that. And all the people who say it sucks, well, one, a lot of people say it's great, but the people who say it sucks.
Who says great?
Reviews are pretty good.
Uh-huh.
This rock, paper, shotgun review is the only negative review from a legit outpost I can find, and it's not even that negative.
What review have you read?
I read a whole bunch today because I wanted to talk about this tonight. I was just skimming through
Why
reviews.
do you want to talk about this bad game?
Because also, I'd say that it's still a lot better than that Civ 6 board game.
Well, that's not saying much.
And also, like, people don't review games mechanically anymore, mostly.
Find a good game to review mechanically. Something worth thinking about.
Well, I think we're going to review...
Something worth investing time in.
We're going to talk about Pacman Verse again in a little bit, because it's back.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is probably the biggest other news that we got. So, For Honor...
I knew that there was a game called For Honor. I knew nothing else about it.
It's a game that looks moderately fun. Just as far as, I mean, I haven't actually played it.
Is it an FPS or a third-person shooter? Like, what the hell kind of game
know
is
this
it?
Stuff? How do you not talk to an old person or read the internet?
What kind of game is it?
So you really don't know?
I have no idea.
So
you didn't know either before a few days ago.
No, I knew because I've seen a whole bunch of memes about this game and people talk about this game. I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking
I've never
about
heard of it. I knew there was a game called For Honor. I knew nothing else about it until this news, in which now I know that a thing happened at the For Honor tournament, but I still don't know what kind of game it is.
So imagine, like, combat kind of like Dark Souls, but not that crazy.
So a third-person walk-around hit things game.
But, but it's a fighting game. It's like 2v2 or 4v4 with an objective.
So 2v2, 4v4,
so like a
Soul
knight
Calibur?
a knight and an assassin in a FPS-looking world, like a castle or something, versus an assassin and a samurai, and you have this big duel for honor.
Mm-hmm.
With your weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks moderately fun. It's a game that is not above my line of play right now because of all the reasons we talked about before.
Yeah, I don't need to play that.
I kind of want to play it, though. It looks fun, but if I'm going to play anything, I'd play that PUBG before I play For Honor.
Mm-hmm.
So the deal is, there's been I learned some updates about some issues with this game, but basically, For Honor has a long-standing exploit where you can do what they call it unlock tech, and I don't know enough about the game to go into details, but basically, you can do a thing to make it difficult or impossible for opponents to parry a certain kind of attack you might do.
So you can basically have an attack that guaranteed to hit?
That guaranteed unparryable. They could dodge it to do other things, but they can't parry it.
Mm-hmm.
And someone legit just used this so constantly to win a tournament.
Good job.
Knowingly and constantly.
Good job.
And he won, because that's part of the game.
Why didn't the other people do this?
Because they're stupid.
Okay.
That's the only explanation I can find, is that all the other...
maybe they weren't good enough. Maybe it's hard to do or something.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's that hard to do. And also, to their credit, I'm quoting the article, he got the trophy. For Honor's creative director said, and this is a quote, this is what he said while he awarded the trophy. "Good job, buddy. Soon you may have to change your play style."
Mm-hmm.
Implying that the exploit will soon be patched out of the game. But he got his 10 grand.
Yeah. They probably, the terms of the agreement in the tournament entry they couldn't deny him because it wasn't against the rules.
So Mammoth Machine on Twitter pointed something out real interesting, because I don't know enough about the meta of this game.
I don't even know what kind of game it was.
There's way more to this story. Apparently the meta right now is heavily defensive play and is boring as shit.
If someone can be super, you can't parry my attack, I guess my only way is to be super defensive and, and block or dodge everything.
A Smash tournament that's based on... lives remaining as opposed to kills. The rim strategy is pretty effective depending on the stage.
Right.
Don't fight anyone, hide forever. Fuck you all.
Mm-hmm.
But But basically, this defensive strategy, much like the trap in hockey, sucks to watch, sucks to play against, sucks to play.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the
defense is boring.
A lot of people in the community.
There's going to be a boxing a fight coming up soon.
A lot of people
Floyd
in the
Mayweather,
community
the champion of defense,
are
is the most
apparently
boring
very
person
defensive of this glitch because this glitch is actually a really effective way to break that fucking defensive meta.
Mm-hmm.
So the community is really split on whether or not exploiting this is truly exploitative.
It sounds like what you should do is not play this garbage game and play something else. The same thing you should do with Nidhogg too.
But at the same time, Ubisoft, which I've never had,
the most garbage game publisher.
Not the most garbage.
Who's more garbage?
Who's most garbage? Who is the most garbage?
Even EA is better than Ubisoft.
What if
I'd
we
rather
expand
install Origin on my computer than you play.
What if we expand into tabletop?
I'd rather install Origin than you play if I had to.
Yeah. Who's the most garbage game publisher?
Ubisoft.
Who's the publisher who made that? Who made the Penny Arcade game, the old one?
I don't know, but that's not as bad as Ubisoft.
I don't know. It might be.
You couldn't even think of a worst one. You're like, oh no, they're not the worst one. You can't even think of one.
I'm trying to think of who the worst one might be.
They're the worst one.
There's probably a really good joke there if I remember someone who, maybe old. There was an era of Activision that was bad, but now they're part of
You
Blizzard.
mean the people who published Pitfall and MechWarrior 2?
Yeah, there was an era where they weren't great, but now they're in
Which
Blizzard.
era
They're
was
good
this?
again. Name a good game they made between MechWarrior 2 and being bought by Blizzard.
I don't know any game. I'd have to look up what games they published between
Yeah.
them, but I'm sure there's good ones.
What about the people who made our favorite game with The Baron?
What game?
With The Baron?
The pizzas?
The Baron.
Oh, the Sentinels of the
Yeah.
Multiverse? That's a board game.
Yeah, I just said expanded tabletop.
It's a card game.
All right,
And
anyway.
they're not a bad publisher. They do a good job of publishing. Their game just sucks.
Anyway. But the other component of all this, one of the big debates, is that many big esports, like almost everything in modern MOBAs, were built around what were originally basically exploits of a poorly designed game, DotA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last hitting, no one sane on Earth would argue that last hitting is a good mechanic, but it became an effective mechanic to optimize play in a game, and then like later game design sort of built around it. So is this one of those things? Is this an exploit? And the answer is Ubisoft gets to decide because they're the ones who run this scene.
I guess people are playing it, and they have a tournament that is big enough to make the news, so
But
sure.
props to the Ubisoft
They're
for
making
being
money.
This is one of the first times.
I don't give them any props.
This is one of the first times in modern esports where I think the use of an exploit was handled correctly. And frankly, I'm disappointed in all the other people in this tournament who did not do anything about it in the context of the game. Why did they knew he'd do it. What did they think was going to happen? It'd be like if I went to a Mario Kart DS tournament and I was like, I ain't going to snake. I have honor. And everyone else is just like, all right. That's enough news.
Props only to the dude for doing it.
The dude. Oh, the dude. Every time he beat a game, this is what his face too. He was just like,
Yeah, my dude. What team is he on?
I don't even know.
I'll root for that team.
All right.
Is someone playing For Honor in our chat there?
Doesn't seem like it.
No.
Oh, Konami. People are like, oh, Konami's pretty bad, but that's not because of games. That's
No,
because of,
Konami makes terrific games.
yeah,
but
it's just they're evil, but that's independent of their terrific games.
I think Konami's basically done, I think is the thing, right? They basically evacuated all
Last
their
gasps.
Yeah, they evacuated all their real games. Now they're just making, Garbo stuff to make money, like mobile crap.
All right, let's see. But anyway, things of the day. What do you got?
What do I have? So our friend Luca Crane, who not Luca Crane, I just said Luke Crane, who has made The Burning Wheel and many other excellent games, and his official job, I think they actually changed his job title to be correct.
Oh.
He is head of games at Kickstarter. That is his job. He is in charge of all Kickstarted games.
Luke Crane is literally responsible for the front row crew in GeekNights discovering a world outside of Dungeons and Dragons like games in
Yes.
role playing.
Well, I think we knew that world was there, but we basically looked down on it and paid no attention to it because every nerd who's like, I'm gonna make my own system.
Yup.
We're like,
And
we
Luke
thought that they
Crane-
were all that guy, and
Luke-
he was the one who wasn't that guy.
Yep. And then we spread Burning Wheel far and
But
wide.
anyway, he was at some convention, I think in Europe somewhere. Where was this?
I can't tell.
I don't know. It's called A Maze was the convention or conference he was at. And it was a video gaming conference of some kind, and he's given a panel there as head of games at Kickstarter.
Oh, hey,
and
that's Vincent Baker. Oh, hey, that's me.
And he's talking about this game he made called Inheritance,
Which is so full disclosure. I kickstarted like the nice version.
and
like,
we don't need to tell you the story about this game because when you watch this video, you're going to hear the full story about this game.
But I will say this:
It is a story in which we are tangentially related.
So this incident that is on the screen right now on the stream, where I'm standing there with my hand over my chest and Vincent Baker is lying on the ground. This was like one of the later playtests of Inheritance at Burning Con, right? Yeah, it was at a Burning Con. And this event, this game, this LARP that I played, that physical instance, was literally like one of the top 3 best gaming experiences I've ever had in my life.
I played
I'm
the
not exaggerating.
extremely early version in 2000 whatever at UberCon that was still using the Burning Wheel system and wasn't a LARP yet. And that was still one of the best RPG things there was.
I cannot express to you the entirety of Tribes 2.
It wasn't until mere months ago that we had this game in our hands. That's how long this game was made.
The entirety of my time playing Tribes 2 is equal to or possibly lesser than the 4 hours I played this game this one time.
Yeah, probably.
And a bunch of our friends, holy shit.
And after all that waiting of 10 plus years, we now have a copy of this game. And we can play it whenever we wish.
To this day, Vincent Baker is salty about what I did to him.
Well, according to Luke in this panel, he is still salty, yes.
Yeah, and all I say is that, what could I do? Luke handed me the knife and basically said, do what thou wilt. And what I will.
Well, a knife only does one thing. Two things. Stabby and cutty.
And frankly, the real villain here is our friend Kat, because Kat's character basically, Kat in character, said I could marry her daughter, which is the thing I actually wanted, other than all the other things I wanted. But that was the thing I really wanted. And she was like, I'll only let you marry her if you bring me Vincent Baker's fucking head. And I was like, sure. And then Luke was like, oh, we got to play this out. And Vincent's like, really? And we had this final encounter, and holy crap, that was a moment. This video is great, though. Luke's a pretty good lecturer as well. You should go check out his other videos.
Yeah. But yeah, watch this.
So
learn a story.
I was doing research for some of our new panels, and so remember way back I did this thing of the day long time ago, but there's this video that's every way to die in Shadowgate. So there's
Did someone do every way to die in Deja Vu?
Yeah, I've seen that video.
Okay.
But I'd never actually played Uninvited.
What the hell's Uninvited?
You holy shit, Uninvited?
Is that another Shadowgate or Deja Vu type game?
Yes, but
that I have never heard of?
It's really good.
What the fuck system is it on?
NES.
Really?
You can play it on the NES.
I thought there were only 2 games.
No. So this was
there
on
was
the
a
NES.
hidden third game this whole time, my whole life. I didn't know. Are you sure this isn't like some alternate Matrix kind of glitch thing where like?
Well, I did not expect you to not know about this game.
You just created this game out of nowhere to fool me.
So all I'll say,
and make me think it always existed when it didn't.
So this game is probably way more complex and interesting than Shadowgate.
Well, Deja Vu is more interesting than Shadowgate, also.
But more importantly, the deaths in this game, there aren't as many as Shadowgate. Holy fuck, are they like beyond the pale of horrible.
I think this game was just invented.
So this is a video that is a ton of the deaths in Uninvited, and the next video in this person's channel is the rest of the deaths. And this is worth a watch because these deaths are haunting and terrifying.
I'm gonna have to research this game that you just made up.
So the plot...
I think I just entered a different world here where there were 3 games in this series.
The plot of this
2.
game is that you and your fiance or sister, some girl, like crash your car.
You go somewhere that you weren't invited.
Yeah, you crash your car and your sister disappears. So you go into a house that you're not invited into.
And there's Transylvanians in there? Of the transvestite variety?
No, that would be a whole different game.
No?
I want to play a dating game. I want to play the dating game of that. Holy shit.
It's
Why is no one
it's a
made
movie.
that?
You don't need a game.
A dating game of the Rocky Horror Picture Show characters. I can't believe that doesn't exist.
Go make it.
I should license it. Holy shit, would that make money? I would just hire
It's not an expensive license, I imagine.
the people who made Dream Daddy, that exact creative team, should just make the Rocky Horror Picture Show dating game. I would invest all the money I have. That would make so much money. If you think the death screen and the death music in Shadowgate is haunting, the red skull of death in this game and the sound that happens when you die haunts
Captain
my
America's
dreams.
mortal enemy, the Red Skull.
This is good biz. In the meta moment, the book club book is the 5th season, which we're going to do soon.
So I got some extra info on the 5th season.
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah. So the last year, the Hugo Award was for the best novel was given to the 5th season.
Oh.
And this year, the Hugo Award was given to a different novel I forget the name of by the same author of the 5th season. 2 years in a row.
Daddy 5 seasons.
Same person, same award, 2 books. How can you ignore these books? You can't. That's why we're going to read it. Book Club Book, 5th season. N.K. Jemisin. Get with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, we are going to be, in a few weeks, at PAX. Well, I'm going to be at PAX Dev with Emily, and then the 2 of us plus Scott and our crew will be at PAX West, which is not
Real
1.
PAX.
Not 2.
Is so goddamn soon.
Not 3, not 5, but 4 days of PAXing in the heart of Seattle.
Holy shit.
PAX West is my favorite con. I love you, Magfest, but you're number 2. Number 2 is still a pretty good honor there.
I'm
but
going to get some waffle.
I'm going to get a crepe.
And my flight is like late, just like afternoon on Tuesday, so I got all this time.
I might go to Biscuit Bitch for breakfast before I fly home.
Oh, it's going to be,
Yeah.
man.
But we're doing on Sunday a panel not on quitting, not like the high level of like, what is quitting? But this is like rage quit specifically, those fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on Sunday.
Rim just can't think of a new panel idea. He's got to redo.
All right, we were talking about this. So the 2018 GeekNights panels will require more research, but I think are going to be some
I'm tired
real
of
good
redoing
panels.
these same panels, so I'm making new ones.
We've only been doing it for a year. We basically every year we pick a set of panels.
His quitting panel's like 3 years old at least.
No, well, so I actually changed it. Have you looked at the slides yet? It's not the same panel.
No, but you barely changed.
It's like 60% plus
It's
different.
the same idea. It's not a new idea.
Yeah, it has
You got to make something 100% new.
No, you don't. Plus, it also has a completely different moral. From
It's
the
like
other one.
like some DJ who can't come up with the new melodies. You're just remixing.
I like 2Mix.
That's you.
2Mix is one song remixed 100 times.
That's you right now. I'm gonna make new music.
What panel did you give me that I could have submitted to PAX West?
Oh, I didn't think we were gonna redo. I thought you were gonna. I thought we were gonna.
What do you think? I told you, hey, here's my ideas, and you said, okay. You didn't say anything then.
I'm making new ones now because I'm tired of this shit.
All right.
I don't
Plus,
see you making any new ones, lazy man.
I did. I made this one.
It's not new.
I think it is.
It's a remix.
It's actually pretty new.
It's not new.
Also, how many times do you think we've done this panel? Because
You're busy. You're busy inventing entire video games that never existed, like Uninvited. You can't invent a new panel.
Careful, if you play Uninvaded, you'll get fully taken into the hell dimension. So yeah, Namco Museum came out on the Switch.
Well, Namco Museum has been on many.
Namco Museum is a franchise with many iterations that are all like there's like a mixed match of different Namco games.
Yeah, I'm pretty
depending on-
sure it goes back to like PlayStation. I think is the maybe the first time
We
it
are
appeared.
only talking about the release that just happened recently on the Switch,
Right.
which confusingly is literally just called Namco Museum.
If you go back in time to the arcades, right, all the best arcade games, there were some made by Nintendo, like a Donkey Konga.
Yep.
There was some made by Atari, like a Pole Position or a Centipede.
There's the Bimanis by Konami's.
Well, that's way newer, but I'm talking about classic arcade games, right? Most of the best classic arcade games are made by Namco. Pacman, Dig Dug, Ms. Pac-Man, Galaga. It's like pretty much all. If I'm going to make an arcade in my house out of old real arcade machines, a lot of them are going to be Namco machines. Like
Yep.
maybe even more than 50%. So,
Who made Rampart? I actually don't know.
also Namco. Anyway, so they always release these collection things of like, hey, if you want to play these old Namco arcade games on your modern console.
No.
No?
Atari.
Really?
It was on the Atari platform.
Whoa.
All right, Captain.
News to me. Anyway,
Why did you think? Why did you make that up? Why were you wrong?
because it's on the Namco
Is it?
collection with the Sinistar or whatever.
Anyway.
Anyway, so like I was saying, they release these discs that collect a whole bunch of Namco arcade games together, right, into a single software package so that even in the year 2017, you can buy a game from 1982 and not feel bad because you would never pay this amount of money to get just Dig Dug. Right? A game for 1982.
I hope not. I mean, I might, depending.
But I've probably put more money in quarters into Dig Dug machines than it would cost to buy this collection.
But more importantly, these games are sort of official. Like, they're real, official, legit ports. And, like,
really what it is, I'm pretty sure it's just MAME.
Oh, yeah.
With the user interface.
Well, because
and
the
ROMs.
options are the same. Like, you go to the options on Dig Dug, and you can be like, turn our Pacman. There's a fix for the kill screen that you can turn on and off, and you can pick what arcade mode you want to put it in.
I'm pretty sure that this is just an emulator with ROMs that you buy to run on your console that only plays a small set of ROMs that are included, and that's it.
But they're so polished, they just work perfectly, and they link up to like internet servers. So if you get a high score, like it just ranks you with all your friends.
Yep, and no one's hacked the scores yet.
And more importantly, this Namco Museum is special because it includes one of the best multiplayer GameCube games on Earth.
Yes, not only does this one, most of the time, they just include a bunch of old arcade games, right? But this one includes a non-arcade game that is a game that up until now, if you wanted to play this game, you would need to buy a GameCube, a GBA of some kind, the game, and 3 Gamecube controllers to go with your GBA, and a link cable if you can find one. I have a whole bunch, but you can't have them.
It is included.
There is no other way to play this game.
No, there's one other way to play it.
What is the other way?
10 years ago, Namco Museum came out on the DS.
Really?
Pacman, Galaga, Xevious, Super Xevious, Galaxian, Mappy Land, Tower of Duraga, Dig Dug 2,
Ooh,
and a remake of Pacman Verse.
All right. But yeah, Pacman Versus. You go to the arcade these days, and they got this bullshit there, which I think we've talked about, called Pacman Battle Royale.
It is awful.
Pacman Battle Royale is a pile of shit.
In fact, the alternate rules that PAX used for the Omegathon finale were way better than the actual rules of that game.
But that game is still a pile of shit, even under those circumstances. So the way that game works, Pacman Battle Royale, is eating pills doesn't fucking matter. It does, right? All that matters is you live longer than your other Pac-Mans. There's 4 Pac-Mans, and you got to eat your friends or push them into ghosts, and that's the whole thing. And it's stupid. Pac-Man Verse is legit. The way Pac-Man Verse works is one player is Pac-Man, and the other players are ghosts.
Now, you don't understand. Back then, this is why the GameCube link cable was so utterly revolutionary, because the person who's Pac-Man on their Game Boy Advance, literally just sees normal Pac-Man. They're just playing Pac-Man.
They're playing Pac-Man.
Full screen.
They see the full map. All they're doing is playing Pac-Man, except they're playing against ghosts that are much more dangerous because they're controlled by humans and not by the default Pac-Man AI. Meanwhile,
the ghosts are all on the TV.
The ghosts are looking at the TV, but the thing with when you're a ghost, all you can see is this very limited radius around your ghost. You can't see the whole map, so you're not always sure where Pac-Man is.
And if you kill Pac-Man, you become Pac-Man.
Yep.
We won't get into like the super details.
So the way this works on the Switch is everyone has a Switch.
Or you only need 2. One Switch is the main screen.
One Switch is the Pac-Man, and the other Switch is all the Pac-Man ghosts, right?
So we're not going to get into depth about Pac-Man First. All I want to say is that it is like...
That is the reason to pay for this game alone, is to get Pac-Man Verse, because it's the best way to get Pac-Man Verse, because no other ways to get it are going to be too difficult.
I cannot express to you how much we're going to play Pac-Man Verse at PAX West.
You also need to know that even if you just have a Switch, only one of your friends needs to pay the money to buy this game. Everyone else, in the eShop, there is a free download that I recommend you get, no matter what, if you have a Switch at all, that will let you give you basically the client to be a ghost, right? So that way you can just join in on a Pac-Man Verse for free if one person owns it.
It also has a mode if you only have one Switch. It's just it's only ghosts and no one can be Pac-Man, and it's obviously not the full experience, but it's not that bad.
That's better than no Pac-Man Verse.
Yeah, but I'll dig up I'm sure we reviewed this at some point a long time ago.
Yes, we did. Super long ago. Like 2005 or 6 or something.
Like, I cannot express to you how great Pac-Man Verse is.
Pac-Man Verse is the best multiplayer Pac-Man and is maybe one of the best local multiplayer games, period.
Yeah.
It's not the best, period, but it's way up there.
So Namco Museum is just, that and all these other games. And it's worth buying just because of Pac-Man Verse. Buy it even if you don't care about any other games on this list.
It is worth buying one copy of this in your friend group just for the Pac-Man Verse.
I feel like we should spend like a couple minutes reviewing each of the games.
But it also comes with all these old classic arcade games, and we'll review them all, beginning with the best one, Dig Dug.
How about we go in chronological order, because that's the list I have here.
What's older than Dig Dug? Dig Dug's as old as me.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man's older than Dig Dug. I guess it is.
1980.
It's the original Pac-Man. It's not as good as Ms. Pac-Man. It's not as good as Pac-Man CE DX.
A lot of people disagree. I've gotten some vitriol over this before. I think Ms. Pac-Man is better than Pac-Man.
Sure. Pac-Man is almost the worst Pac-Man. I think Pac-Man Jr. is worse.
Pac-Man Jr. is not good.
I mean,
I'm
only counting actual Pac-Man games and not like some 3D Garbo Pac-Man. I'm talking about 2D Pac-Mans where there's a maze
Pac-Man
and dots.
CEDX is real fucking good.
Pac-Man CEDX 2 is not. It's not
good.
It's not. No, it's weird.
Yeah. Pac-Man CEDX is weird, but it's weird in a good way.
Pac-Man CEDX Plus is the best Pac-Man single player.
Yep. But Ms. Pac-Man is the best, like, pure old Pac-Man.
Yeah, old one, yeah. But this is regular Pac-Man, which, it's like, how fun is regular Pac-Man?
Pretty fun.
It's okay. But it's like, hey, if you have this, you can play regular Pac-Man on your Switch if you're in a Pac-Man mood.
Yeah, and
I wish they would put Pac-Man CEDX Plus on
You
Switch.
can turn off the kill screen.
I'd buy the game again.
You can turn off the kill screen and just keep going past the last level.
Mm.
Galaga is also older than Dig Dug.
Oh,
it's Galaga.
I love Galaga.
The thing is, I love Galaga, but I actually like Galaga 88 way more.
Well, Galaga 88 is a better game for if you have modern sensibilities. But Galaga is Galaga is actually the sequel to Galaxian. Galaxian is really a bad game. It's like this Galaxian, you have this grid of bad guys that are sort of meh, and occasionally they come flying down at you, and it's really kind of static, and you shoot like pew, pew, right? Galaga is really dynamic. Like, guys are swooping down and swirling and flying, and you can get captured, and there's actually significant complexity. Like, do you let yourself get captured and then get the double shit, but now you're more vulnerable, and interesting different kinds of bad guys come in, and then you get the bonus round and the positioning, and it's like, and the bad guys shoot a ton of fucking missiles at you all over the place. It's like, Galaga is serious business. Galaga 88 is just really fancy Galaga. It's not like it's
also Galaga 88 technically came out, according to Wikipedia, in 87.
Yep, probably. I think there's also Galaga 90 for the TurboGrafx 16.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's the two Galagas. They're Galaga.
Yep.
Dig Dug, my boy.
Dig Dug is Dig Dug. It's the best game on here.
So when I got this thing, I just played Dig Dug, and I've been playing Dig Dug a bunch recently.
Mm-hmm.
The third time I played Dig Dug ever since I bought this thing. So
this is the best portable Dig Dug, because I don't think before now, right? It's like you've been able to get Dig Dug on like lots of portable consoles, right? But I don't think there has been a pure emulator. There might have been on a PSP or a Vita or something, but I don't know because I don't pay attention to those things. Right?
But Scott and
but there has never been a pure, emulated perfect Dig Dug legally released on a portable console, I think, before now that I'm aware of.
But Dig Dug is one of our favorite old arcade games, up there with Rampart.
Mm-hmm.
We just love the hell out of it. And we're both pretty good at it. We're not like world class.
Obviously not.
But we're pretty good. So
I'm better than a normal person.
I literally played it 3 times, and on the third time, I got the 37th highest score on like the leaderboards. And as of today, I've only dropped to 42nd.
I checked the leaderboard on my Switch yesterday. It said you were 50th.
I guess I dropped a little further.
But anyway, I'm 100 something.
I can't beat the score I got the third time I played it. And I played it a lot more than 3 times since then.
The problem is I've learned how to get high scores in Dig Dug, like drop 2 rocks, get the vegetable, try to kill guys with rocks, but the
real pro mode is
doing
kiting 3 enemies simultaneously.
I can do that as long as I'm not stuck on the bottom left corner of the screen where I usually am, because that's where the rocks were.
Meanwhile, I was playing it with Judith was hanging out, and we were just playing Dig Dug, and we realized something really horrifying about this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way you kill these monsters is really awful.
You harpoon them, and then you inflate them until they explode.
To death. It's like inflation Guro. It's awful.
But they're basically inflatable monsters. They're not like actual guts everywhere.
Inflate them real slow and watch the sprites. They just like explode out of their stomach like really horribly.
Yeah, it's like Fist of the North Star.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But Dig Dug is super great, and I love the hell out of it. And if you've never played Dig Dug and you buy this for Pac-Man Verse, Dig Dug Dig Dug and Galaga 88 are probably the two best games other than Pac-Man Verse on this thing.
Yeah. All right. We've done an old Geek Nights just about Dig Dug, so you can go find that. You can go find that if you want.
Tower of Jiraga is horrible, and you just don't play it.
Well, okay. So Tower of Jiraga is one of these games that like
steals quarters from children.
Yes, that is true. But the thing with the game is that it's like it's so close to being good. It's just like its oldness ruins it. If someone would just update Tower of Jiraga a little bit, it could be great. And the way it's a game where there's a maze,
million levels.
It's a million levels, and there's a maze, and the maze is one screen, but it's kind of long, so you have to scroll left and right to see the whole thing. And you're a dude with a sword, and you basically hold the sword button.
Highlight controls.
You hold the sword button to make the sword come out. And you walk into a bad guy to kill it, and you let go of the sword button to put the sword away.
And have the shield out.
Right? And the first level, it's like this green slimes. And okay, so you walk around and you stab, I think, 5 green slimes, and that makes a treasure chest appear. And in that treasure chest is the pickaxe, which you use to bust open a wall. You need this thing. If you don't get this in level 1, you are so boned. You can't get it after level 1.
You're like,
then you have to get a key and then go in the exit door. If you
this is one of those old.
If you grab the key, you can't walk past the exit door anymore. So I hope you don't mess up and like kill the wrong slimes in the wrong order or anything.
This is one of those old games where, like, if you don't get a certain item at a certain point, you'll get to the end of the game and you just can't win. You got to go all the way back.
Right. In level 2, you have to kill, I think, 2 black slimes to get the most important item, which is the walk faster item. In level 3, I think you can get an item that gives you, like, an extra life. It's not as important. But it's like so on and so forth. And the instructions actually tell you how to get the item to appear in each level.
Yeah, you can basically play this game with a FAQ.
But really, it's in the game it gives you the manual. But the pickaxe, and if you don't get the pickaxe and the walk faster, you're done, because the main problem with this game is that there's this fucking timer in every level, like Gauntlet, and you have to if you don't get to the exit before the timer, horrible bad guys appear that chase you down and fucking kill you, and there's not much you can do about them, and it just eats your fucking quarters. If someone just made this game more elegant and removed And the thing is, sometimes you can get boned by the maze. Like, the maze is just arranged in a bad way, so it takes super long to get to the exit. And it's just...
But basically, this game is it's like one of those old games from an era, like those Sword of Earth or whatever games on the Atari.
If someone just polished Tower of Jiraga to make it not evil and not some arcade quarter muncher, it could actually be kind of fun, but no such thing is the case.
The thing is, this just got replaced by roguelikes.
Yeah, I think just play a roguelike instead is right.
Sky Kid, which I'd never played before, is way more fun than I expected. I actually like Sky Kid a lot.
Sky Kid's okay, but it's kind of hard, and it still needs
right to left shmup,
which is annoying.
Yeah,
I want to go left to right
based on World War I, like Ace style combat.
The way you gotta fly,
but the cool thing is you've got to take off and land, and you can do a little loop-de-loop and shoot while you're looping.
Yep.
So like the dogfighting is actually like kind of complex. Like
you can't turn around and shoot backwards though, and a lot of guys come from behind.
Well, you can do a loop and shoot while you're looping.
Good luck.
So yeah, there's a high skill component. Like there's cool stuff going on, but it's got this mechanic.
High skill component means hard as balls.
Independent of that, there'll be a target, and you just get a picture of it, and it'll appear at some point during each map. And at some point during each map, before the target, there'll be a bomb.
You have to pick up that bomb, which means you have to go down near the ground where it's dangerous, because trees will just kill you.
And the only way to launch the bomb is you start a loop, and you'll like launch the bomb while you do the loop, meaning while you're carrying the bomb, you're slow and heavy and can't do the loop anymore. And it's got basically it's got a lot of the feels of like an old Choplifter game. And I liked Choplifter a lot.
Choplifter's a lot more dynamic, though.
Yeah, this is simpler, but I had a lot of fun with it. And also that art of the eagle. I love that eagle's face because he's just so like, wah.
Sure.
That's like a Waluigi face.
It's not the worst game on here, but, it's not like you're going to play that much of it. It's an old cruddy arcade game still.
So, Rolling Thunder and Rolling Thunder 2 are just those, like, boring...
Rolling Thunder and Rolling Thunder 2 are
boring elevator action.
They're crappy versions of elevator action.
Elevator action without the elevator.
Right. Elevator action is actually a good game. Elevator action 2 is an incredible game.
They remind me of all those bad Sega ports.
Rolling Thunder is elevator action, but fucked up so that it's really annoying and unfun to play. Because the bad guys just like, you'll go into a door to hide, and the bad guys just mill outside the door, and you can't possibly exit because the bad guys don't move.
Yep.
And what are you going to do? Get out and take a damage, and then you get killed.
This is the kinds of arcade games as a kid I'd like play once and never play again because I hated them.
Yeah. It's, you're better off playing like Sunset Riders than playing this.
So Tank Force is actually reasonably fun as well.
Tank Force is a good game.
It reminds me a little bit of that battle mode in Advance Wars DS.
It's combat, but the controls are actually good.
But the battle mode in Advance Wars DS as well.
It doesn't really cheat you. It's just fair hard.
Protect your base, kill the bad guys, and the 2-player seems like it's also pretty fun.
The 2-player that's the one thing about this game is that the way the map is. It's not like the game gets easier with 2-player. With 1-player, it's kind of annoyingly hard because the bad guys are coming in from all these sides, and you're just one tank. What can you do?
Yep.
But if you have 2 players playing co-op the way this is meant to be played, this game gets real good real fast.
And it's real fun. I really like it.
Yeah, imagine combat, but instead of shooting each other, you're protecting one area of the map, and a million bad guys come in from all sides, and there's 2 of you, but the controls are really good, and you can get a lot of upgrades to get better shots and stuff, and the environment is destructible.
Yep. So Splatterhouse is kind of notable because I'm pretty sure that game came out on Sega consoles.
Yes, Splatterhouse, I remember being a Genesis game. I don't remember it being on, I think it might have been a Mad.
Holy shit, do you not understand, if you're younger than us, how controversial Splatterhouse was?
Right, because this is a game that actually showed, like, when you would chainsaw like ghostly bad guys and they would get guts everywhere. It's
yep.
It wasn't
you fight a giant fetus hanging from a womb at the end of the game.
Like, it was a horror game that showed horror imagery. You were basically Jason. You had a Jason mask.
Yep, the mask of power. It's basically a JoJo's mask.
Even though you're a good guy and not a horrible guy's killing all the
you're
children.
a good guy who gets possessed by the mask of horror. That's some ancient, like, Aztec thing. But
and you go into this mansion of evil to save your girlfriend who got captured by horror.
Yep, and it has a bad ending. You can't save her. It's bad news.
Yeah, everything in the mansion is horror, and you go through basically horrifyingly murdering and chopping up all these other evil things.
It's actually more fun than I expected.
No, Splatterhouse was actually a legit good game. It's a lot like, I don't know how many people know this game. Is it, what the hell's the name of it? Is it Astyanax?
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Is that what it is called? Let me look it up. Hold on. Yes, Astyanax. Astyanax is a game for the NES where you're this giant dude and like Greek guy, and you're really kind of slow, and your attacks are really slow,
and you're really big, and everything's big,
and you're side scrolling, and there's all these bad guys that are really fast all over the place, and you have to beat them all. And Splatterhouse is really, really similar to that, only better.
Because unlike Double Dragon, you can't move up and down; it's just left and right. But even though you only have sort of punch and kick and jump, there's a lot of combinations and items and things that make it skill-based.
It's really actually quite similar. You people love your fucking Dark Souls garbage, which I don't like. This is like 2D Dark Souls in sort of the combat way. There's no exploring and that kind of stuff. But it's like in terms of the action aspect, it's like, oh, for this bad guy, you need to back up a little bit and then get in on him. And for this bad guy, you got to crouch and whack him a bunch. And you have to figure out a different way to approach all the different enemies combat-wise because you don't get a lot of health. You get killed real fast.
Yeah, but it's a piece of history, but it's more fun than most of the other. Like, I'd play it again before I would ever play Tower of Druaga
again. Splatterhouse is actually a decent game. Like, no one, that's the thing is that if you look at history of controversial, video games like Mortal Kombat and stuff, the only games that had these controversies around there were plenty of other horrible, violent games, but like Custer's Revenge wasn't in the news because no one could buy it, and it wasn't actually a good game. The games like Splatterhouse and Mortal Kombat became controversial because a bunch of people were buying them because they were actually fucking good.
So yeah, Namco Museum. Like, if you own a Switch,
there weren't any other games to talk about it.
No, that's it. That's all that's there.
I feel like we missed one.
Pacman, Galaga, Dig Dog, Tower of Druaga, Sky Kid, Rolling Thunder, Galaga 88, Splatterhouse, Rolling Thunder 2, Tank Force, Pacman Verse.
All right.
There's nothing else on there.
Okay, but yeah, I don't know if you're like, I wouldn't pay full price for this right now on your Switch unless
you're a fan of one of these games.
Right, unless you really want to play one of these, because you can you let someone else buy it and play Pac-Man Verse for free with them. But if you're the kind of person like me who's going to try to, register some Dig Dug high scores when you're bored, I basically bought this and Magical Drop, and those are like my quick play Switch games. I don't think I'm going to buy any more quick play Switch games unless something really great comes out on there.
Oh yeah, and there's a tiny feature that's really useful. You can rotate the screen to any orientation.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of these games are vertical arcade games like
So,
Dig Dug.
I played Dig Dug holding a controller, and I set it on the table
You set your Switch sideways.
like a cocktail cabinet.
It actually lets you rotate it 90 degrees in any direction. So there's 4 different orientations, even though the 2 are
Which is just an example of, and if you poke around, you'll see in the options, there's so much polish to this that...
It's an emulator that gives you all the features that you need for these games and not any other of the features that are in emulators.
But honestly, it's worth paying full price for right now just because of Pacman Verse. Pretend you're buying Pacman Verse.
Yeah.
Because that game is worth it.
How much did we pay for Pacman Verse on the GameCube?
Fuck if I remember. That was like 14 years ago.
Including the cost of link cables and everything else.
It was $2,000, and then I gotta have friends, so I gotta buy 3 hookers to come over, and I gotta buy a house, and I gotta buy food.
Electricity.
All right, I think that was good.